All right, expanded little charms recap of what went through in that last long form reading that I did, available on the I Am Dil Divine YouTube channel. Y'all have been locked in, anchored in with your labor, with your service, with your work, with your project, whatever you consider to be your intentional focus of labor right now. I'm going to say labor and service. And I will sometimes default into work. However, I want you to really take responsibility and, take what resonates, leave what doesn't with this channel, to use the language that resonates with you. So if you're a student and some educational term resonates more, for example, do that. If you're an entrepreneur and you want to hear your business, change it up to that. No matter what, this is for my folks where you have been essentially showing up stronger than your shadows consistently, stronger and stronger with your boundaries with yourself, let alone with others, other situations, distractions, derailments, anything of the like. Doesn't mean you don't dance with them, doesn't mean you don't indulge with them to a certain extent. Only you know your tea of what you do with your time and your energy and your body, and more power to you. Celebrate that. You have been improving. Spirit is acknowledging it, and they're very proud. Your commitment. And I also got, when I got this anchored in, a lot of it was messages of being locked in, anchored in, committed vibes. I'm also getting this energy, especially off the last channel, the short little video I did. Because this is dealing with water, an anchor in the water. I feel as though you're anchored in and you're anchored at like this point that you're supposed to be at. You are where you're meant to be. Like, I'm getting this for the collective that's resonating with this, is like, essentially I want to like almost like clap for you and thank you and acknowledge and affirm you for going where you were supposed to go. Like, essentially you followed your orders, you followed the assignment. Like, you're doing the assignment, you're still doing it. However, Spirit is very proud of you for going out and casting the anchor and being at the spot. Like, I'm getting this vibe of like, just like a little modest boat out in the ocean, maybe a rowboat. I'll just say a rowboat. Not that I'm an expert on boats, but like you're on a nice, like modest rowboat, nothing like shabby or whatever. And you got yourself there with strength and especially with faith and commitment. You went out there into the ocean just to float along, drop anchor at the point, and essentially be working on the projects, like whatever you can within your raft, your craft, your vessel, whatever, your boat, with the supplies that you had available, with what you felt guided to take with you. You are working and laboring at sea at this point where you've been meant to be. And it is requiring all of your faith to believe that the next ship with the blessings and to take you to the next place that you're meant to be, it is taking all your faith to believe that it's coming and showing up. It's taking all of your faith to not maybe draw up and draw back that anchor and then row your behind back to where you was, back to the same old, back to the old routine, back to the old way of trying to make things happen. It's like, no, you're out there in the ocean, making things happen with the materials that you have available to you, waiting. And it's not that you're in a waiting energy of, it's like more, I'm on point, Spirit. I'm where I'm supposed to be. I'm not rushing you. I'm not hyper focusing on your arrival time. I am doing the very best I can to keep strong faith and surrender to divine timing. But Spirit, I am here. I am out here. I am doing it. And I am riding these waves, because it's not like every day or every moment, every hour on this ocean, it's just like peace, 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 tranquil. It is more peaceful than not. And you are more protected than not, because you went to where you're supposed to. So whatever little waves are coming up, not to minimize them, but whatever's coming up, you're good because you are protected. Because even though you don't see them, your angels and your squad, like you have a whole squadron, like watching over you. There are eyes in the sky. There are eyes on the sky watching you and what you do now. And most of it, trust, this is not to create fear. It is your people, your guides, your protective team. Like, you're safe. I will say though, especially for those of y'all who can handle it, those of y'all who are like, not only understanding except the duality, but of like some next level ish, 4, 5, 6 on the timer as I say that. You know, like other things could be trying to watch you. You know, there could be monitoring spirits, flies, you know, like things just trying to watch like what you're going to do. Because there's also things that want to try and pull you or tempt you to get you to roll your butt back to the way you were, back to what you were doing, back into that old thing. Other things trying to come along and get you to maybe like jump in the water and go in the direction with them. Or maybe even some, and for some, maybe even there's other boats, other vessels trying to come around, trying to get you to go with them, get into their mix. However, you're already clocking it and you're maintaining your boundaries. You're remembering your boundaries because you know it'd be one thing if you could go in that vessel and still do what you're doing as guided by spirit, working on that craft, that labor, that service. However, you can tell you're like, if I get on that boat, am I going to be able to work on my craft? Are they going to be distracting me? If I get on that vessel, am I going to be able to take my divine materials with me? Or even if I take what I take with me, is it safe enough for me to unpack and utilize it? Is it going to be able to work for me and like what spirit's guiding me to do? Or is it something that's going to try and be like, I want to say like co-opted, colonized, taken, used by these people who offer me the ride, and I'm going to be guilted into giving them so much because you're a person of integrity. You're a person of, you know, intentional energy exchange. You're not looking for a problematic, quote unquote, free ride that would be at somebody else's detriment or without their consent. You are wanting things to be given of the highest vibration, agreements of the highest vibration. And you're clocking and you're using your discernment and being like, that's not my boat. Like, that's not the boat carrying the vibration from my guides, the frequency from my spiritual team. That's not a vessel that's like high with the Holy Spirit, the holiest divine. Clock that T. So with this, spirit is like your discernment, your locking in, your focus really is like you're a badass. And they're affirming that. Like you are on point. Like you are literally on the point. You're at the point where you're supposed to be. I think I just saw some like lightning in the background too, confirmation. With this being said, your guides, San Judas de Taddeo, especially if anybody's been praying to him, lighting any San Judas candles. Because I know they sell them in the States too, like at all the little shops, like up in Walgreens and them. At least they used to. San Judas and your guides have heard your prayers for support, your prayers for intervention, your prayers for renewing your faith, keeping you going that next day, like to help you stay on that boat in faith while you wait for that bigger, divinely guided, right for you vessel and ship to come through. And the thing is, your guides, like the fishing hook, they're viewing you as the little fish while they view you on the ocean, to be honest. And they're about to cast, I'm really feeling like Spirit is about to cast some really great offerings and opportunities to you. It's up to your discernment to make sure it's coming from the right source, the right opportunity, the one that you've been waiting for, coming from your guides. But I really feel like there's going to be these things thrown your way. And it's going to be like, you know, like I feel like there's going to be like, quote unquote, bait on the end. Like there's going to be some nourishment, some sustenance on the end, like the little bait, the little mini offer. However, it's like, it's going to take you and it's going to give you a little morsel. However, it's also going to pull you in the direction where you're going to actually get more than a morsel, more of the goodness. However, it's up to you to make sure, are you going in the place where it's spirit taking you and you're going to get the full feast, banquet, and meal that is set up for you, a table set up for you in the presence of whomever, let alone any enemies to watch but not touch while you're divinely protected? Or are you going to be like deceived and given little morsels and then pulled into like that settling for less, like the distraction stuff, that whack-ass vehicle and vessel I was talking about? Most of y'all, it's not. But this is letting you know, like, the offerings are coming in. So it's up to you to be discerning and not be duped problematically. You don't have anything to fear. Your guides, like I said, are very much so protecting you and guiding you and holding you up throughout this experience. Yet it's on you to continue to be strong in your faith, strong with your crafts, with your service, and also by you showing up consistently. Before we run out of time, they're saying you showing up consistently for your craft, for your labor. That's what's helping your guides see you at that fixed point so that they can send in the offer and make sure it finds you where you're meant to be. So keep doing what you're doing because you're magnetizing the offers, baby.